Hey! Well. It's Saturday, noon. Welcome to the Madman Cafe. Time for another edition of Brunch with the Madman. Come on in, come in, have a seat. Grab yourself a cup of coffee. Hopefully you're waiting for some good news, some bad news, whatever news that I can bring you. But we're gonna chat a little bit today. We're gonna chat, have ourselves a little chat. But first, before we really start here, we gotta look on the good old cafe menu board. What is on the coffee of the agenda today? Today we are slapping back onto Joffrey's again. Once again, I'll tell you, it is not a paid. This is not a paid advertisement for Joffrey's, but I'll tell you this: it is a great cup of coffee to always have, whether it's in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening. It is a great cup of coffee. They make very good. I recommend get the bean itself and grind it yourself. But today's cup of coffee, what does it consist of? The Italian espresso, going for something a little bit stronger today. And oh, look at that smell! Oh, you gotta love it. Let me just take a sip. Oh, that is delicious. Thanks to my wife there, where she always gets me a great nice hot cup of coffee every morning, and I appreciate that from her. So, it is Gamer Week, as we would call it on we're moving into a new era of consoles. We've had the Xbox Series X, the PS5, both get released this week. Of course, we've started getting the craziness that's been going on, the situations, the defects, the errors, the how can I put this? The fake news of it. Because there's so much going on this week. This week I just got Call of Duty for my Xbox One, so I'm already playing that. Hopefully, Cyberpunk will come out on time, and be able to play that. And we're gonna go into a little bit of what's going on as far as everything gaming on here. And we did say we were going to do a little more gaming this week. We discussed already the releases of there. We didn't go into the PS5. There are a lot of good people out there that are reviewing it. Now, we discussed back on an episode how the mainstream media is just trying to throw political points. We talked about Kotaku, the way they were just describing one system to another, how they should not release a PS5 because of COVID and all the politics and this like that, and people can't afford it. And meanwhile, the other one, the other review for the Xbox Series, that it has too many holes, that it'll trigger phobia to people and stuff like that, without any numbers to say how many people have this and all that, because basically they haven't secured that this is an actual ailment, mental ailment. It's still being investigated, but the American Psychiatric Association has not deemed it an issue as of yet, but being investigated. But this is the way it is. Every day, like I said in the other episode, there's some new phobia coming out. Most of it is faked, because people are just looking for, brownie points online. And this is the same thing with this. This week we've had a lot of situations. Not only the consoles have been slammed with political jargon, video games are also starting to get their slant on things. And we've seen a couple of articles out there. We already heard earlier, I can't believe with Den of Geek. Den of Geek used to be so good on a lot of their reviews and their site and stuff like that. And they've fallen so hard that they've fallen. And you've seen this with this Assassin's Creed Valhalla that let the anonymous choose the canonical gender option. Why do I care about that? You want to play male? Want to play female? Fine. Whatever you want to play on that. Stop interjecting politics into this. And you notice it's the small. This is what's, and like I said this before, this is the people that are getting hired into the mainstream media and into these sites like this. These are people that are inexperienced in journalism. They're not experts in technology, gaming, movies, anime. You know, I've been in this business a long time. I did some schooling. I didn't get my degree, but I continue to educate myself in this business as far as my journalistic nature, my technical nature as far as editing, technical directing, associate direct, all this stuff, the back, the ins, the outs. You know, when I went to school, I went to trade school. Okay, I went to trade school. Yes, there is trade school still to this day for people in television production and film. Okay, hands-on. Because it used to be that it wasn't hands-on, that basically you learned in the classroom everything, but you never got to do things on the side. You'd been thrown aside. As the years went on, things started to change a bit, and then you started to see schools cropped up on there. I went to one of the earliest schools, which used to be the RCA School of Television. And it went through a couple of changed names, and it's no longer around. But I educated myself. But I was already ahead of the curve, because in high school, I was already learning, because I was already working in production. The guys I went to school with had their own TV shows on public access. I was invited to come there, and let me tell you something, it was great to see these shows being done. And it hooked me. And I started coming more and more, and then I started learning from people that were there, that are, some of them are still in this business. Some are in the top tier positions. They're acting, they're producing, directing. Some have moved on to network television. Others are still in the business, working on small firms, small projects, doing movie trailers, editing storyboards for animation, many various things that is done in this industry. And that's what it is. It's all hands-on, learning hands-on. And when you look at the situation with these articles that are written, there is no hands-on. They're just throwing politics, what they believe, and stuff like that. They're not giving a balanced reporting of the situation. I mean, you have the this talking about gender options on a video game, and not going into the video game itself on, is it good, is it bad, does it handle well, the technical aspects. They don't do that. And then just recently, Vice, which is practically in the grave also. Vice was a company, was respected when it first started. It was making money. Let's tell you, Vice television and online was on the level to the point where they could have replaced CNN, Fox, MSNBC, any of these guys at a moment's notice. That's how good they were then. When guys like Tim Pool and many others left this because of the way the wind was blowing as far as politics in this channel, that's when they started to fall, because the way they were interjecting themselves, the way they're making product, and this is why they've lost. I believe they lost their HBO series. I believe that's done. I mean, they're the only thing popular on their network. They have that Vice channel. I think is the wrestling shows, the ones that talk about the documentaries about wrestling, and pizza. I think the other one's pizza. And then they put out an article that with the release of the Spider-Man Miles Morales, that they're disappointed because basically he didn't do what Batgirl did and gone to a BLM protest and basically did not go against cops or stuff like that. In fact, there's no I don't think there's even interaction with the police like the original Spider-Man, which that small little 1%ers were complaining about in the first game. So I think Sony took that out of there. But not realizing, they said, well, he should be with a cop. His father is a cop. If you didn't watch Into the Spider-Verse, they said, well, he would be a little bit. He's half Spanish. He's half black, half Spanish. Okay? Did you mention that? You pushed to the color of his skin. You pushed to the color of his skin. Not saying that he is multicultural. He's two sides of a coin. Like my wife is. My wife is two sides of a coin. And a lot of other people in my family are two sides of a coin. But yet they look at the color of the skin and automatically they judge. And that's not what we wanted to do here. We wanted to get a review of a game that's been long awaited, of a character that is popular. No one's complaining about Miles Morales. Except now, because basically those small 1%ers who want things to go their way is not happy with this. And I'm not even going to read these articles because basically it is not worth my breath to read them to you because they have nothing to do with the gaming itself. It just has to interject the amount of time that they think that they're going to get to spew their politics into your mind. Whereas when I go to play the game, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the escapism, to have fun. What was it the other day? I was playing a team deathmatch with a bunch of people on Warzone because they had that extra, the team deathmatch. And I was talking with a couple of people, and they said the same thing to me. It was like, yeah, we're just here to play, and we were all having fun. We were discussing. We were talking about, hey, listen, have you read the last manga? Have you watched this anime? That's all we were talking about. We're not talking about, oh, who won the election, who lost the election, who did this, who did that, the COVID-19. We're talking just general fandom. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about what gender the person is, what beliefs they have, if they're gay, if they're not gay. We're playing the game to relax, to have fun, to escape these general proceedings that are going on right now. There's not a lot on TV, right? There's not a lot. I said in another video, I'm freaking going through the episodes of One Piece right now. Over 200 episodes. 220 I think I'm at. I think I'm about 220 up. And that's a lot of binging. Because I'm not paying attention to what's going on the other side. I catch a glimpse here and there. But, you have to tell yourself, what is wrong with some of these people? They write articles like this. All these sites had a great idea in the beginning. And they all fallen. They've fallen so hard. And then they criticize us, the new media, the new entertainment. They're saying like, no, you are all this political and that, and you're supremacy and stuff like that. You don't even know us. I think, what was it? There was somebody who was a politician. And they were having a discussion on radio. And the woman on the radio, who happened to be black, was telling the other person, oh, you're just a white supremacist. All you white people are all the same and stuff like that. And the person they were interviewing said, I don't know who told you this, but I happen to be black as well. So I don't know who told you that I was white, that I was a white supremacist, but I happen to be a man of black skin color. And that shocked them and threw them back because they didn't realize who they were talking to. And this is the mentality. They're not doing their research. They're just spewing out crap. It's like that episode in South Park where Stan starts to see everything from that point of view where people just all he hears is people shitting.
Bob Dylan. feel like I...
out of their mouths. The music sounds like shit. The games looks like shit. Food looks like shit. It was a great episode. I'll tell you that. I think that's a slam on episode on things that are going on everywhere. And it was a while back. I forgot what season that is. That is a really good episode. But this is the mentality that it has. And you see this, you say, this is not what I wanted to see. Now, on the other hand, you may ask yourself, well, Zane, where can I get a good review to this? Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you a couple of people. And they're really, really good. I want to tell you straight out. I'm going to give you a couple people, a couple fellow YouTubers. I want you to go over to their site, give them some love, like, subscribe, and share their videos. Because these guys are really good. They've been around for a bit. And I'm going to give you a couple of them. And, of course, we're going to start off with the top guy, one of the top guys up here, Young Yi. He just did his review of the PlayStation 5, comparing them, the Xbox. And one thing about Young Yi, he's very good. He gets criticized for a lot of the stuff he does, by like those 1%ers. But he's straight on. He's going to give you straight gaming news. He's there on the live streams of all the manufacturers. He gets the product from the manufacturers. The manufacturers do send him the product. So he is a good reviewer. Check him out. I mean, like I said, Young Yi. You'll see a little bit of the video on the corner screen there. And, give him some love. Give him some respect on there. Now, two others that are very good for what they do. That's Spawnwave and Austin Evans. They do teardowns. I mean, we're talking they take apart. Now, Young Yi took apart most of the PS5, not completely. These guys have taken it down all the way down to the core motherboard itself. They show the innards, outers, workings of the systems themselves. Give detailed explanations on there. They are very tech savvy as far as on there. I mean, as complicated. Let me tell you something. Taking apart these new systems are very complicated. Each of the screws are different from what I understand and what I've seen from these videos. And they give detailed explanations what each part is, because you're hearing about the SSD drives that basically you can put additional ones in there, where they fit, how it's going to work. Like right now, I think the thing that some people are pissed off is that the SSD drives are not available on the PS5 yet. You can't use them yet. They have to upgrade the firmware before they're able to be installed. But they give us a lot of surprises. They give us a little comedy thrown in there once in a while, but they're detailed. They're detailed in how these systems work, the inner workings of it, and I'll tell you, give them a little love. Give them a little love. Go check it out. Subscribe, like, and share. They're well worth it. The one YouTuber that has the most simple, detailed, not tear apart anything, just basic gaming information for those of the laymen that don't want the technical end. They just want to know, will it work? The basics of will it work? Is Metal Jesus Rocks. I've mentioned him before. This is a guy who travels. He goes to places. He finds games. He's been to Japan. He's been all over the place. He's gotten some great gaming. They do send stuff to him. He's got some great reviews. He is a detailed reviewer, but also easy for the layman. For people who are just like basic gamers that are not super hardcore, but also you want a super hardcore gamer to explain it to you, this is what you get here. He is a super hardcore gamer, but the way he explains it in plain terminology. Is it good? Is it bad? How does it feel? The littlest detail, that is important to you, the gamer. He's going to give you that. He's going to, like I said, good gamer, good reviewer. Go check him out as well. I mean, all these guys, they're very good. I mean, there are other. Linus Tech Tips is another one, but I haven't seen his review yet. I know he's done some pre-reviews. I don't know if he's got his hands on one system, but I would assume that he will get it. But check these guys out, because they do good episodes of gaming. Because who else are you going to get it from? You're not going to get it from Vice. You're not going to get it from Den of Geek. You're not going to get it from Kotaku. Because all they're talking is about politics, straight on politics. I mean, how do you interject talking about COVID-19, the issues of COVID-19 into your article? I don't want to hear that. I want to know, is it going to work? How are the joysticks going to work? Does it work properly on there? Does the game flow properly? Are there errors in the systems? Does the 4K work very well? The tracing, all that. I want to know what that, because eventually I'm going to buy one. I mean, it's going to be an Xbox, obviously, because I'm an Xbox man. I used to be a PlayStation man, but like I said in another show, PlayStation, Sony itself is falling from grace. They are leaving the Japanese player behind. As seen that there has been an uptick in Xbox sales overseas, and let's say Game Pass alone, Game Pass alone makes a major difference, especially now that Microsoft owns Bethesda. With Bethesda, are we going to get a Elder Scrolls just for Xbox, or any of the other games that are on that lineup? Could you imagine that? And the thing about it is, the best part with Game Pass is you don't have to have an Xbox console to be on Xbox Game Pass. You can have a PC. You can have, with also the cloud that's also being tested out, fully out now. You could do it on your cell phone. You could do it on your tablet. Right now, I think iOS is not available on that yet. I think that's going to be a fight in itself for Microsoft to get that on there. But if you have an Android, by all means. And I tell you, Android tablets are cheaper these days. You can get an inexpensive gaming laptop for under $1,000. I think, what is it? I've seen some for $600 for a decent gaming laptop. I mean, you can imagine, you could play, you for $15, you can get a lot. I mean, there's a lot of games on there. You're not getting much on the PlayStation. That's one thing they'll tell you on there. And the slew of older games already available, whether it's Xbox 360 or original Xbox. There's so much on there. I mean, I wish there was a lot more, but that's licensing, and also there's some software, firmware issues that have to be fixed in order for that to be put into the newer systems like the Xbox One and the Series X. Over in Japan, they love handheld games. That's why the Switch is number one, and games on cell phones are doing very well. For Microsoft to go in this direction, and for Sony to leave that direction, I think is going to change. I mean, some people are already saying that Microsoft has already won the console wars without being out the gate. It's still, the critics are still out on that one by me. But I think it's a pretty good argument to say, especially with the way Sony has been acting with censorship, as far as they're censoring some of the games, the way they're acting toward Japan. You don't get rid of your core gamers. You don't. Japan, besides the United States, Japan is core gaming. Okay, they live, breathe it. Do you understand that? They're people who live in freaking arcades over there. They're on the PC day in, day out. See, this is the same reason some of these other gaming companies that they put out games on phones, but yet they forget the PC gamer. So you can't forget them. Period. I mean, I just heard recently from one YouTuber, You know, you have the wrestling games of WWE. They're skipping this year, but the new Wrestling Alliance, the AEW, is looking to make a game on all platforms, across the board, which that's a good idea. You know, you don't leave anybody out. You know, you get them on all consoles, the PC, cell phones, laps, tablets. You go cross country. Even if you have to make a game for certain core members, you know, you got your console and PC gaming, and then you have your portable gaming. You could do that. That's possible. That is possible. It's just some of these companies, they just want to save money and just think where they're going to make the most money on. I can understand if you want to make money, but you don't alienate your gamer. The media has already done that. They're going to sit back and leave. You've seen what's happened in the comic book industry. A lot of comic book fans have left the mainstream comics and gone to alternative comic book companies. And that's what's going to happen with gaming. If you don't keep your gamers happy, they're going elsewhere. They're going to figure out another way. And in the internet, right there are guys who are creating their own games. There are small independent outlets out there that are trying to create their own games. It is possible. We could get a new renaissance of game companies pushing out the big names. Because Sega, and I reported this before, Sega is cutting people. They're ripe for being bought right now. And I already said, could Microsoft end up buying them? Capcom and one other? Could that be possible? You may say, nah, Capcom's fine. So, no. Bethesda. That's all I got to say is Bethesda. If Bethesda could get bought out by Microsoft, trust me on that. Think first, what do these companies hold as far as the games themselves? And if one company just grabs them up, how much gaming can you think you could put into a system? I'm thinking why they're creating a faster SSD drive separate outside from the Xbox system is they're trying to get one big enough to handle a lot of gaming. I know Sony's trying to get their big one in there, but I think there's something new coming across the board on Microsoft. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm thinking there's something there that we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen it yet. Because maybe it's not ready yet. Maybe it's another year or so. Or 2 years. Because you remember, cloud gaming is around the corner. Cloud gaming is around the corner. But there's still going to be people with their physical games that they want to put into the systems. And some people, like Metal Jesus Rocks, who has a ton of games. They're not going to give up. They're not going to give up their physical media. They're not at all going to give that up. So they gotta store it somewhere. They gotta store a percentage of the game somewhere in the system, because that's how the system operates. So it is just it takes me out. It takes my breath away when I hear things like this. It makes me laugh too, but it also makes me cry as well because of all the stuff that's going on. Hang on one second. Let me take a sip of this coffee. Can I get some more, honey? Oh, almost through with that coffee. Oh, delicious, honey. So moving on just a little bit. And I just got to put my 2 cents on this. Now, of course, like I said, we've discussed about all the mainstream media talking about this and all that. Here's another thing that I have to say, and I'm saying this to my co-friends and neighbors and fellow YouTubers and Twitter, stuff like that. You got to be careful. And you got to be careful what you say, how you talk about things, or how you do things when you're doing your reviews. Or if you're trying to show something that there's a problem with something. First day out, we heard that we got word online that there was smoke coming out of some of the Xboxes. And that was troubling. Till you see the video. That much smoke out of a console, if you know anything on how certain computers work and gaming systems work, is a little insane. If it's that smoke, there is a major issue beyond that, and that's not the case. Because there are safety features that shut things down. I myself have had computers break down where they've sparked up a bit. I've had power packs go out where they've caught a spark, looked like they were going to catch fire, and then they just literally just burnt out, and you could smell it. Very minimal smoke. Very minimal smoke. In this case, you're seeing a ton of smoke come out of it, and you're wondering what the hell's going on. But then you find out that they're vaping and using the vape and pushing it from underneath straight up to the top, which Microsoft already says, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And I think someone online said, go ahead and make this, get your clicks on the videos and stuff like that. I understand if you want to get clicks, that's very important that, you get your subscribers, your likes, your shares. But don't be fake about it. If you're going to do it in a comedic sense, that's okay. That's fine. But if you're doing it to the point where you're like, hey, my Xbox blew up and this is what happened on there, and you're trying to get sympathy points, you're not going to get anywhere. Because of that, Microsoft may come after you. I'm not no lawyer, but you're putting out false narratives. And the reason I say that is for the second person on this listing, that basically another YouTuber, I will not mention who he is because I'm going to do it out of respect, but there are some YouTubers that have pointed him out, whereas he got a advanced unit from the Xbox Series X. He got to test it out and stuff like that. And then he reports one day it bricked on him. And that kind of scared some people because of the old, we're still reaving from the red ring of death. I still have my Xbox 360. It's never done that. So I still have it. I haven't used it in a long time, but it's sitting in my bedroom. My wife used to love using it because she loved the hunting games for it. She loved the hunt, get into the hunt, and she had some fun with playing that. She hasn't played it in a while, but she always loved the hunting games. But this particular person said, oh, they bricked it and stuff like that. I can't believe it. It's broken. And you would say, oh, man, they're already bricking already? Well, here's the other part of that story. His big mistake is, understand this. I'm going to tell this to him because I've dealt with companies like this. An NDA, non-disclosure agreement. When they send you these things, read your email or read a letter that comes with it, because it'll specify what you can do with it, if you have to send it back or you get to keep it, what you could do with it. For example, they'll tell you don't take it apart because we want it back, or you can take it apart. You can play with it. We've given you the activation, stuff like that. But, and in the case of this particular YouTuber, you cannot show any footage of the gaming or the menus or anything of that nature at this time before rollout. In simpler terms, it's just like when a movie critic goes to see a movie in advance and they tell them, they give them an NDA and tell them, listen, please do not review this until the day the movie is released. You cannot discuss it. And what happened was, this particular YouTuber showed, I guess, the menu, whatever it is, and Microsoft saw this and they automatically bricked his unit. That's right, folks. He goofed up. he's out getting another Xbox Series X because of his mistake. Always respect your NDAs. You have to remember, you as a YouTuber, you're in the business. You have to, as much as Google and YouTube don't follow the rules, doesn't mean we have to stop following rules either. We have to follow the rules. They have to follow the rules. Even though they're not following the rules, we have to follow the rules still. You know, we have even though we have the fair use rules, but we can't go above that. If someone gives us an NDA to review a product and they tell us don't review it for another month, don't review it yet. Don't talk about it. Say, hey, we're going to have a review. You can advertise that you're going to be doing a review, but you can't talk about the details of it. You in the case of a video game, you can't show the unit's workings. They want to keep that hush hush for now until it is time for rollout, because they don't want the competition to catch on to what they have. Because the competition will go out there immediately and says, well, we know they got this, so let me explain to you how. It kind of disadvantages the company when you do something like that. And believe me, violating NDAs, you don't want to end up in court because you violated an NDA. You'll end up losing a lot more money, a lot more than what you earned. You know, it's kind of funny when you see this and it happened. But, you know, and like I said, the other guys who were pumping smoke throughout there, I mean, I don't think anything's going to happen to these guys. I think the couple people that were explaining how to do it and to do it to get clicks out of it, they may be seeing some legal disclaimers to them, possibly, or cease and desists, or, you know, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but hey, you never know with these guys. You know, Microsoft has a lot of good lawyers. They'll figure something out. They generally do. I mean, you see all the crap with Nintendo, that they shut down a lot of the modding companies. A lot of the modding companies, you know, and got them real good. And they figured out a way of doing it. So, you know, be careful. Be careful out there. You know, you have to remember, you're the next level of media that's coming across. We got to be better than them. Much better than them. Because the media is dying out. I mean, we're already seeing all the news networks, with the exception of 2 small independent ones, or 3, have all just reverted horribly in their writings, their reviews, talking about politics and all of this. You know, they're not journalists. They're political commentators, opinionists. You've seen a lot of people who are in the news business leave it because of this. Tim Pool, perfect example, left Vice, left Fusion for this reason. And how's he doing? He's doing very well. He's gotten a lot of great guests. A lot of great guests. Check him out once. He gets guests from the left and the right. And that's the way it's supposed to be. It's a balanced nature. And we have to be balanced too. We talk fandom on this channel. We talk about gaming, we talk about anime, we talk about things in Japan, we talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, all this stuff. We tell you straight out, do we like the show? No, we don't. Or we love the show. We're not being political. We're being straightforward. Most what we talk about is like what if you in the office and, you know, 2 people are talking about at the water cooler, talking about things. That's why we recommend always Friday Night Tights on Friday nights. Right here on YouTube. Reason is, it's discussion from multiple YouTubers. Multiple YouTubers gathered together. Used to be that way with politicians, with news shows and stuff like that. They still do something like that, but it's not like it used to be. Straight down, gritty, fun, and informative, fact-checking news. And in this case, with Friday Night Tights, it's just a couple of guys having a beer. Well, they don't have beer on there, but it's like having a beer, talk, shooting the breeze. That's why it's doing so well. That's why shows like this are doing well, because you can have fun, talk about what you like best, talk about, everything that's going on, some of the disgust that we have for some of this stuff. We try to get away from the politics and talk about what we like and what we dislike in the fandom. Gaming is part of our fandom. Anime is part of our fandom. Role-playing is part of our fandom. Science fiction, horror, fantasy, all these are our fandoms. Cosplay, all of this. We enjoy it. But yet there are those who have decided to come into our group and try to destroy it from within. And these are people that weren't invited to come in. They just barged in. There were some that were invited, and we found out that they stabbed us in the back. We were always friendly to everybody. We were always, even though we were the people back when I was young, we were the people that was outcast because we watched science fiction and anime. We watched Doctor Who and Star Trek, and we were made fun of. These are the same people that made fun of us back then that are destroying it today. And I say no to that. So, as I said before, the people that I've mentioned before, go check them out, get their reviews, make your own opinions, and decide what system you want to buy eventually when it becomes back in stock again. Because that's why it's very important. Educate yourself. Go online and educate. Because that's what these people don't want to do. They're going to throw you an article and tell you that they want to check every box to make sure that it's diverse, that it fits their political opinions. And that's not how it works when it comes to the fandom. We are not that way. We do vote when it's time to vote, and that's it. We go back to what we like best. As I'm reading manga, I'm reading books heavily again. I have a whole slew. I'm reading Ahsoka right now. I have in the back, I have Darth Bane waiting, and a couple other. I have a couple other books that are coming. I just got H.P. Lovecraft, every one of his stories in one book. I keep myself flowing in information and fandom and all the science fiction and horror. My wife enjoys horror. She just started watching a site called Dust the other night because I told her, go watch it. It has some good science fiction. It's got a little bit of horror in it. She was enjoying it last night. It was things she couldn't get before. She was watching a Bill Murray zombie flick, and it was horrible. That last flick with Bill Murray was terrible. But this is the films they put out in Hollywood. And the horror fandoms, they don't like this. The horror fans don't like that. There's certain things that they like. The blood, the gore, the terror. But yet they're making all these political movies, like the Craft. Oh, how horrible The Craft is. The current one. What they did to Fantasy Island. Blumhouse, it's like they'll do 10 movies, one of them will be okay. You get what I mean? And it's just so strange that we didn't catch on this earlier. We had the warnings. We had the warnings. They were there, and we didn't heed them. We thought we were strong enough to handle this. But we found out that they were already dug in deep. So it's up to us here on YouTube to try to rebuild. create new stories. Work with Japan, with the mangas that come from them. Get those stories out to those who want to see stories that are good, that have detail, that have great adventures, and no politics whatsoever in it. No political agendas. So comment below. Tell me how you feel about this. As we're coming to the end of this, my last little sip of coffee. Honey, could I get another cup, please?
Okay.
Ah, that is so good. Like I said, Joffrey's Coffee. It's not an advertisement for them, but they have a fantastic coffee. So, don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, and share this video. The Man Cafe is closing its doors, but we're here every Monday and Saturday at noon. You can come in and have a cup of coffee with me, talk some stuff, talk some fandom, have a little time away from the insanity. So until Monday, we will see you then with some more talk and coffee. And also don't forget Man with the shows every Wednesday and Friday throughout the day. We try to put up at least 2 videos a day, sometimes 3 if we can. So make sure you also hit that notification bell. You'll know when we hit up. We had an issue this past week where YouTube went down. In fact, it went down in the middle of one of my episodes premiering and basically kind of slowed everything up. Do go back and catch that. Anytime YouTube goes down, we also put up stuff on BitChute and ODYSEE. They do come up a little bit later. So do catch it there. Catch the listings at the end of this video. It will explain where we at, where you can subscribe. In fact, you still subscribe here as well. And thank you for those who have subscribed. We do really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And those who have commented, some great comments out there. We're going to be reading those soon. Once again, here on Brunch with the Madman. So until next time, let me run and go get a cup of coffee, a nice good refill. Do what you can. Enjoy yourself. Fulfill your day. And don't forget, purchase your media. Purchase physical media now. Because if you don't, you'll pay for it later. Bye-bye now.